Hello everyone, and welcome to another beer review. And how would I say about this one? I've not been looking forward to this one. It's marks of desperation that I'm actually here in the first place. But in general, yes, I've just found that the whole kind of Christmas beer and even just the offerings for winter beers, especially down south, is bloody dreadful. It really is dreadful. Apart from your usual, the odd kind of dark beer and the odd little ruby. I mean, stouts, geez. I mean, you go into Tesco's down here, an average size Tesco's, and your really only option is Guinness. You might get Old Peculiar, but there's no guarantee. And yeah, all the kind of winter beer options just aren't there. Unless you go for the gaudy coloured cans, unless you go for the craft beer. Whereas I mean, what was it? Was it about a week ago? I'm sitting in Sainsbury's. This is the second time I've been in Sainsbury's, and it's a different one. There's two big Sainsbury's in Exeter, and I was in both. So, only a couple of days apart. And what was on offer was dreadful. And for stout, I had to go to the kind of craft beer section and buy stout because I just could not buy any kind of traditional stouts apart from Guinness. That was it, Guinness. And you're thinking, alarm bells are ringing. I mean, what the hell is going on? I can't buy a traditional stout in winter apart from Guinness. I've got to go to the craft beer section and the gaudy can sections, I like to call it, and buy beer from there. And of course, they're all stupid flavours. And well, you've seen by the reviews I've had over the last few days that a lot of them are either hit or miss, and it's just most of them are kind of either complete miss or borderline miss. And today, well, I mean seriously, it doesn't look appetizing just in the can, and the can's always annoyed me. It's been sitting, the amount of times I've been in different supermarkets over the years and I've seen that can kind of staring at it and I'm thinking, nah, not buying that. Because the can just annoys me. It looks more like a bloody milkshake than it does a blooming can of beer. But let's do it. So today we're doing Brewdog's Layer Cake, which is marshmallow and chocolate stout. This is where it's got to. This is what the options of beer in the south of England. I mean, seriously, unbelievable. So yeah, 7%. Now, united we stand for better beer, fiercely defiant and independent. I've never had so much shit in my whole life. I mean, seriously. You just hope to God that some of this bullshit doesn't actually transfer to the actual contents of the can. Right, is there anything else? Have your cake and drink it. There you go. Not much. Just Brewdog, Layer Cake, and that's it. And yeah. So, let's pour it out and see what it's like. Choo-choo! There we go. £440ml can and £3.50. £3.50 for this. Whoa, £3.50. Another £1.50 and I'll be able to get a decent beer. And when I'm saying a decent beer, a decent traditional beer. You know, I can even get something from London Pride and all these different types of things. You get nice little 4-packs for around about £5, between £4.50 and £5. And there you go, I'm spending £3 just on one bloody can and it's only 440ml. Anyway, you've heard all this before. Oh God. Well, I'm getting kind of smell of marshmallow, slightly candy flossy kind of smells, overly sweet smells, kind of fake kind of strawberry or cherry. It just smells fake. Doesn't smell like beer. Can't get any malts, not getting any molasses or any of the kind of normal aromas that are associated with a stout. All I'm getting is Carnival. It's almost like Rocky Road. It smells like Rocky Road. I mean, what can you say about that? It doesn't smell appetizing for a beer. I mean, if I'm looking for something to go with a nice cup of tea or coffee, then there you go. Ho, you know, fine, fair enough. But when I'm opening a can, thinking, oh, I can do with that. Rocky Road? No. I like the flavour of beer. I like the smell of beer. I can cope with that. I'm not one of these snowflakes that, oh, I want to be a man and I want to pretend to be a man and I want to be seen to be drinking beer, but I don't like the flavour of beer. Can you not make beer taste of something else and smell of something else? Because, oh, fuck off, seriously. Right. That's it. It just smells like Rocky Road. It just smells chemically. It smells artificial. There you go. I mean, obviously, if I was some sort of kind of, how would you call it? A craft beer aficionado or a hipster, I'd be creaming my underwear right now. But seeing as I'm more of a kind of beer drinker that likes traditional beer, it just smells completely off to me. And there you go. So, let's see what it tastes like. Did I do the... There you go, this is what it looks like for Instagram. There you go. Cream your pants at that one, eh? Right, let's see what it tastes like. What the fuck is that? Seriously, what the fuck is that? Well, it's sweet enough to be a bloody milk stout. In fact, it's sweet enough to be a fucking... Jesus Christ, seriously. Pushes Sweetheart Stout for sweetness. So it does. There's a bit of chocolate bitterness there. The rest of it is just false chemicals. No, beer shouldn't taste like that. I mean, seriously. No. I mean, there's a bitterness at the end from the kind of chocolatey bitterness at the end there, but the rest of it is just overly sweet and false flavours. Because there's none of these flavours like the marshmallow and all this kind of slightly Rocky Road kind of flavourings that are natural. None. So what the hell are they putting in the beer to get these flavours? Here we go. Right, you've got water, malted barley. Looks like they've got lactose. Malted. I don't even know what that actually says. So they've got yeast, and then of course they've got the greatest thing, natural flavourings. Well, I'm sorry, but there's plenty of flavours in there that are definitely not natural. But again, it seems to go into natural flavour. If they're natural flavourings, then list them then. If they're so natural, list them. If you put them under a collective natural flavourings, then alarm bells are ringing to me saying, you don't want to divulge, you don't want to tell us what shit you're putting in this. Because to be totally honest, most people would call you out and say that's not natural. So yeah. No. As your mouth becomes more acclimatised to it, you start losing that kind of chocolatey bitterness in the aftertaste. by quite a margin. It starts going down to kind of like almost an accent. Unfortunately, what doesn't dissipate is this kind of sweetness and this kind of false kind of candy flavourings. So kind of, it just basically kind of tastes like almost a liquefied kind of rocky road. And it is marshmallow. So there you go. You know, it's one of these ones where you read the can, you think, I hope to God the flavours actually aren't in the actual can, that's what's written on the side of it. And you think, I hope to God it's just a bit of hype. This is where I wanted it to be bullshit. Unfortunately, it's not. They've hit the nail right in the head. I'll be totally honest, I'm not really going to try and break the flavours down in this because there's no point, because I'm struggling to find natural flavours. I'm struggling to find beer flavours. And I'm not going to sit there and waste my time and your time by trying to kind of list or imagine how the hell they managed to get these off flavours in the beer that, let's be totally honest, shouldn't be there. Yeah, it's just dreadful. It really is. It's absolutely dreadful. A prime example of a company brewing beer for people who don't like the taste of beer, because it's the only reason to make a beer like this is because there's people out there that can't cope with the proper beer flavours, but they want to pretend that they actually drink beer. They don't. This is like a cocktail. It really is. They put it in a beer can, they call it by a traditional name. Oh, it's a stout. It's not a stout. This isn't a stout, because this doesn't taste like a stout. A stout tastes like stout. It acts like stout. It's brewed like stout. It has the ingredients of stout. This may share some ingredients with stout. It maybe shares the process of making stout. But the end product that's put in the can is not stout, because it doesn't have the flavour profiles of stout. It has flavour profiles of non-beer. That's what it is. A beer doesn't taste of marshmallow. Simple as that. I'll call it out. Beer isn't supposed to taste like marshmallow. Marshmallows are supposed to taste like marshmallow. If you want your beer to taste like marshmallow, then it shouldn't. If you like the taste of marshmallow so much, then go and eat bloody marshmallow and put the beer down and forget about it. Or if you really want to, well, get yourself a nice stout, sit there with a bag of marshmallows and sit there and shove a marshmallow in your mouth and take a drink of beer. But to make this bollocks and then say, oh, it's a stout. It's not a stout. It's nowhere near a bloody stout. It's a fucking joke, that's what it is. Why not? This is the type of thing. See with the craft beer, it's a bit like the kind of vegan, kind of, how would you call it, trend. That instead of coming up with a drink or a type of food themselves, they try to make, how would you say, concocted versions of an original. It's like turning around and saying, right, we've made a vegan burger. Why? Why do you have to make a vegan copy of a meat dish? I don't understand that. Can you not come up with something? You're not innovative enough to come up with something yourself. So instead of trying to say, well, what we're going to do is we're going to make a burger, but instead of using meat, we're going to use a vegan concoction and then say it's a vegan burger and it's a lot more healthier and everything else and it's great. Well, no, why don't you just go and make a vegan dish in its own right? Why try and make a vegan copy of a meat dish? Because let's be totally honest, if people like a cheeseburger with real cheese and real meat, then you're not going to beat it. You're not. You put them side by side, and people who like the meat flavours and like real cheese and everything else are going to pick that. And the same type of situation is, if you don't like beer, don't make beer with stupid flavours. Why not just make your own drink? Develop your own kind of series of drinks And stop trying to make a non-beer flavour beer. I don't understand that. Because people who like beer and drink beer is because they like the beer flavour. If you don't like the beer flavour, then Brewdog should be making their own drink. Why not call them Brewdogs? There you go, Brewdog. This is marshmallow flavour. This is, I don't know, raspberry jizz flavour. You know, that type of thing. Go with that. Don't make a beer and then put stupid flavours into it and then say, oh, it's a stout. It's not a stout. It's not. And don't pretend that this is beer for I don't know, modern men who moisturise or whatever, you know what I mean? Men who basically grow facial hair and use basically wet wipes in their arseholes. At the end of the day, normal men just like beer. They do. Now, there's other men that don't like beer. Doesn't mean they're not men, but it means it's a case of they're not beer drinkers. They might like wine, they might like spirits, they might like a lot of other things. Some of them maybe just like cocktails. Like this is a cocktail. It's not a beer. And what would I give this out? That really is annoying. That is just vile. What would I give this out of 10? Well, I'll be totally honest. Price-wise for a beer, it's well overpriced because it's not really a beer. It's not a beer. So £3.50 for a 440ml can of a substance that claims to be beer but isn't beer and doesn't have the actual traditional beer flavours, then I'm sorry, but you're not getting any marks for that. Then you look at the basis as you call it stout. So at the end of the day, I don't care how you've processed it and what ingredients you've used. You've created a drink that doesn't have the traditional flavour profiles of stout. Apart from you might have a little hints of basically chocolatey bitterness. But that's not enough. Nowhere near it. So at the end of the day, how would I rate this on the basis of it being a stout? Well, seeing as it doesn't taste like a stout, then you're not going to get any points for it. Because it doesn't taste like a stout. On the basis is, it's the same colour as a stout. But so's my toilet water if I don't clean the blooming toilet for 6 months. The toilet water in the bottom of it would be exactly the same bloody colour. But that doesn't mean it's stout. So it shares the same colour as stout. It has a bit of lacing on the glass. And what? See, milkshakes do that. So, no. It doesn't really act like a stout. It certainly doesn't taste like a stout. And definitely for £3.50 for a 440ml can, it's overpriced. So, out of 10, what would I give it? I don't like the can, because the can just annoys me. I don't like the flavours, because it doesn't taste of beer. Especially for somebody who does like the beer. So, I'm going to give this a 0, because it's claimed to be a stout, and I'm sorry, but that ain't a stout. It's not a stout. It's some other concoction, but you haven't got the balls to try and market it as a different concoction. I mean, why not just be honest? Hi, we make beer for non-beer drinkers. I mean, let's see if we can try and do an advertisement. Brewdog layer cake. Now, this is a beer made for people who don't like the taste of beer. That's why we make sure, and we work doubly hard to make sure that it doesn't taste of beer by using natural flavours. Now, because of all the hassle it takes to make a beer that doesn't taste of beer, then we have to charge more for it. And trust me, we wouldn't lie to you. So to have this wonderful drink, which we'll call a stout, but it isn't really, and it doesn't taste of anything like a stout, we're going to charge you £3.50. And trust me, that's justifiable, because you know that what we give you is something wonderful. Brewdog. Utter shit. So yeah, 0 out of 10. I just think it's an absolute... This is one of the reasons why I didn't really want to do Brewdog. And I've been avoiding doing Brewdog. Even in the Scottish series, I haven't been doing Brewdog because I knew that there would be a clash. I just knew that we would be butting heads together because any normal person who likes beer, proper beer, and beer flavours and everything else, how can they enjoy that? This is going down the sink, by the way. This is it. I've drunk this much for the review. I'm struggling to drink any more, and the rest of this will probably be going down the sink. And there you go. That's where the majority of your £3.50's gone. There you go. It's just absolutely dreadful. 0 out of 10. Would I recommend it? For beer drinkers, no. For people who don't like the taste of beer but want to pretend that they're beer drinkers, then yeah, go for your life. Knock yourself out, pay your £3.50, get your 440ml can and neck it as fast as possible, and then dance about and say how bloody wonderful you are and how trendy and how great you are. How marvellous, you know. You self-serving prick, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's just wrong. In so many levels, it's just wrong. And that's why I didn't want to do Brewdog, because I'm really struggling not to use the C word. I really am, because I think Brewdog and what they represent in the beer industry, well, CUNT is basically a bunch of see you next Tuesday is probably the best way of putting it. And I've seen reviews of their pub that they've opened down in London, and the overpriced nonsense, the hype, the bravado, it's all bollocks. And people will go there, they've tried it out, they've done a review and says, would they be back? No. Price of the beers? Ridiculous. And it's just, everything is just, it's like fantasy land. And yeah, Brewdog just represents fantasy. And this is a fantasy, we think it's a stout. So 0 out of 10. Don't bother buying unless you don't like the taste of beer and you don't want to basically go down the cocktail route or the wine route or the spirits route or any other type of route. Then yeah, go and waste your money on this. If you like beer, don't bother. Don't go anywhere near it. Move on. And hopefully, God, you'll find something better on the shelves. You should do if the supermarkets actually bother their arse to stock it, but unfortunately, they're buying into all this nonsense. And they think this is the future. So thanks for watching. Cheers. And fuck off, Brewdog. Bye for now.